Marta del Castillo Casanueva, July 19, 1991. January 24, 2009, was a Spanish high school student who disappeared and was presumably murdered on January 24, 2009. Despite extensive searches and the conviction of Miguel Carcaño Delgado in 2011, her body has never been found. The case is popularly known in Spain as the Disappearance of Marta del Castillo, or simply as the Marta del Castillo case. Disappearance. Del Castillo was chatting with a friend, Silvia Fernandez, through Messenger when she left the conversation with the line "Guardad dijo, "Sta migi abajo, la voy a abal con el luego, lamo hinto tq." Fatty, I leave you because il mig is downstairs, and I'm going to talk to him. I'll call you later and tell you about it. Love you. El Mig was the nickname of 19-year-old Miguel Carcaño Delgado, a boy she had been casually seeing for approximately 1 month. Around 17 o'clock, Del Castillo told her family that she would spend the evening with friends, and she left the family home in Seville's Argentonio Street. Del Castillo's mother had previously warned her about Carcaño, claiming that he had the profile of a domestic abuser. When Del Castillo was late getting home, her family called her cell phone, which was on for the first hours, but she didn't respond. They then called her friends, including some of the people who would be later accused of her disappearance, like Carcaño and Samuel Benitez. Carcaño admitted that he had seen her that evening, but claimed that he had left her near the entrance of her apartment block around 21:30. Del Castillo's mother was suspicious and told Carcaño that she'd throw the police over him if something bad had happened to her daughter. Carcaño attracted further suspicions from Del Castillo's family and friends when he moved immediately to nearby Camas, rather than joining the search for Del Castillo. Carcaño resided from then on in Camas with his latest girlfriend, 14-year-old Rocio PG, and her family. Among other places, Del Castillo's friends looked for her in the apartment where Carcaño had lived before with his older half-brother, Francisco Javier Delgado Moreno, in Seville's 78 Leon Xia Street, and they noticed that the place smelled strongly of bleach and ammonia. Del Castillo's family reported her disappearance to the police around 2:00 a.m. Investigation. The case was investigated by the Underage People Task Force of the Spanish National Police. After Carcaño's confession, it was joined by the Homicide Task Force. Carcaño denied his involvement in repeated interrogations, but PG claimed to have seen blood on Carcaño's pants, and the lining of Carcaño's jacket tested positive for Del Castillo's blood. A luminal test in Leon Xia also revealed a large blood stain on the bedroom floor, Carcaño's first version of the murder. Carcaño was interviewed again on February 14. Upon hearing of PG's testimony and the existence of forensic evidence, he collapsed and confessed to the murder. According to this testimony, Carcaño murdered Del Castillo during an argument on the night of January 24. The reason for the argument was Carcaño's relationship with PG and Del Castillo's threat to tell PG about her own continued relationship with Carcaño if he didn't stop seeing her. The murder weapon was a heavy ashtray which was never found, but that Carcaño claimed to have used to hit Del Castillo on the left side of the parietal bone, killing her. Carcaño also claimed to have called a friend, Samuel Benitez Perez, from a payphone in Leon Xia Street, and to have requested his help moving the body to Camas. Once there, they threw the body in the Guadalquivir River near a point called Charco de la Pava. Police suspected that Carcaño was not telling the whole truth. Among other things, he claimed that the vehicle used to move the body was his own moped, but tests showed that it was not stable enough to transport 3 people in that area, even without accounting for one of them being dead. Arrests. On February 16, the Minister of the Interior Alfredo Pérez Rubalcaba announced that Carcaño and Benitez were both arrested under charges of homicide and illegal detention. Also arrested were Carcaño's half-brother and a 15-year-old friend of Carcaño and Benitez, later identified as Francisco Javier Garcia Marin, alias El Cuco. Guadalquivir River search. Specialist groups and the Military Emergencies Unit searched the Guadalquivir between Camas and the estuary at Sanlúcar de Barrameda using 22 vessels, 3 jet skis, 2 helicopters, 13 scent hounds, and a sonar and specialized underwater body retrieval technology lent by the Dutch police. A Gelb's dock engineer also designed, built and volunteered a rake-like tool capable of removing mud from the bottom of the river. 3 separate tests with pig carcasses weighing 50 kilograms were made. The bodies submerged several times, but in all 3 cases, they ended on the surface and stuck in a particular stretch of riverbank that was only 20 kilometers long. However, no trace of Del Castillo was found. Police worked with the hypothesis that the large volume of the Guadalquivir in January and the 3 weeks between the murder and Carcaño's confession had been enough to either wash the body out to sea before the search began or to entomb it in the bottom mud, which can be 2 meters thick in some areas. Also searched were over 40 wells, canals, sewage plants, and pipes. A blood-stained cloth found in an irrigation canal near Camas was revealed to be just painted red after testing. El Cuco's version. In his own testimony, El Cuco stated that he arrived in Leon XII with Benitez, where they found Carcaño wrapping Del Castillo's body in a blanket under the supervision of Delgado. Delgado then threatened him and his family to silence him and stayed at the apartment to clean the evidence while the other 3 disposed of the body. Police believe that Delgado planned the strategy to follow after the murder, based on this testimony and phone conversations between Carcaño and Delgado while both were in remand. In one conversation, Delgado told Carcaño to say nothing because the police has nothing. Carcaño's second version. On March 18, during the customary reconstruction of the crime at Leon XII, Carcaño surprised the police when he requested to recant his previous testimony and make a new one. In this second statement, Carcaño blamed the murder on El Cuco, saying that he had strangled Del Castillo in Delgado's living room, while Carcaño was in the bedroom under the influence of substances. Afterward, he phoned Benitez, and they disposed of the body in a dumpster in the cross between Leon XII and George de Montemayor streets.